what is that? What are we looking at here? This is bizarre. Father of 5, prepper from Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, all of a sudden winds up wearing a latex mask and like a fake police car and murdering people. And then the police don't arrest him somehow at the shooting. I mean, the whole thing. So, but what do we know about him? So
he has also a hit list in his vehicle, literally called a hit list, a handwritten
it says hit list on it.
It does. Yep. And there are
a little weird.
60 names of
in case he might, is he worried that he might forget what the list is? So
there's all kinds of notebooks with all kinds of things in them from what we understand. We did obtain this hit list that went out to law enforcement because obviously they were protecting all of these legislators trying to figure out, where this guy was, because this manhunt goes on for 43 hours before he just surrenders in a field, puts his hands up in the air and basically walks toward law enforcement and says, I'm Vance Belter. But this hit list, these are all Democrats on the list. There's a couple abortion clinics, Planned Parenthoods that are on there. So people have said, is this some sort of pro-life thing? But also, interestingly enough, he has a confession letter. This is what I would call it. It's a letter made out to the FBI to Kash Patel that says that Governor Tim Walz made him do this. He says that he made him do it because he wanted Senator Amy Klobuchar to be killed and Walz then to take that Senate seat, which again makes no sense to any sane person. But these are all part of the pieces that
was Amy Klobuchar on the list?
What's interesting is Walz is not on the list. Klobuchar is on the list. There's somebody who has passed away that's on the list. Some people who are not holding office anymore that are on the list. So the list is a little strange in and of itself.
What did he spend his life doing? Like, what's his history? This guy's in his 50s?
57. Mm-hmm.
Not a typical profile.
No,
of a serial killer.
Right. That's where it seems that there seems to be some financial issues. We know that he spent some time in the Congo. He talks about that.
In Congo?
Yes.
And a lot of people from Sleepy Eye, Minnesota are just kind of hanging in the Congo.
Right. He was doing some mission trips there. But there are also some nonprofits that he would start, but they had no customer base. There was a couple security businesses that didn't have actual customers. His wife was listed on a website linked to a security business. We know of this funeral home work that was going on.
Did he have a career? I mean, did he spend...
He was again, according to his LinkedIn profile, that is now down, but did decades in the food service industry. He was a general manager at a 7-Eleven. That was listed as well. But from my law enforcement sources, it sounds like just a lot of this was just made up, almost like there was this double life that was being lived.
But at some point, he moves out part-time from his wife and 5 children to live in an apartment with a roommate. I mean, what is that?
The way his roommate described it, he was working at these funeral homes and would keep kind of odd hours. And so Minneapolis would be closer to, where these would be located. But what's interesting is even in his last movements that have been tracked by the neighbors, everybody has these great security cameras nowadays, and they're kind of doing the detective work themselves over in that neighborhood as well. But you can see him coming in with some plastic bags. We know now he'd bought some supplies at Fleet Farm just leading up to these attacks. He's walking out with his notepads. From what law enforcement has said, he was doing a lot of writing, a lot of ramblings, as they've just described them. At first, they said there was, this manifesto. They've kind of backed off on that and said it's more of this hit list, nothing that seems to really make much sense as far as a motive is concerned at this point. But for some reason, he did surrender to law enforcement, and it seems in a way he wants to tell his story.
Wow. Is there any evidence that he had contact with law enforcement before this at any level?
Actually, no criminal record, nothing.
Did he have any connection to the government at all that we know of?
Well, this is what's interesting. Also in that confession letter, he talks about he is trained by the military. He says that and this is what was on the website as well, that he did security in Eastern Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, it says on his website. But at this point, just still so many questions about what is actually even true.
So the 4th of July is almost here. In honor of that great holiday, our friends at Pure Talk are on a mission to give an allegiance flag, the world's highest quality American flag, to 1,000 veterans of the U.S. military. As a veteran-led company, Pure Talk believes very strongly that every person who serves this country deserves to fly a flag that comes from this country. I mean, an American flag made in China or Cambodia, there's something off about that. No thanks. So to help reach their goal, Pure Talk is donating a portion of each June sale to getting these flags into the hands of American veterans, American flags into the hands of American veterans. That means switching from your expensive wireless company to Pure Talk that helps you save money and helps them reach their goal. Plans are start at just $25 a month for unlimited talk, text, and lots of data, so you can enjoy America's most dependable 5G network while cutting your cell phone bill in half. The average family saves over $1,000 a year. The address is puretalk.com/Tucker to make the switch. Pure Talk, it's America's wireless company. What do you think?
You know, it's been it's been difficult because in Minnesota, you just keep saying that these kind of things don't happen, and then they do. And so much of this has happened. We've kind of been dubbed this capital of chaos these last 5 or 6 years, and it's pretty disheartening. You try to approach everything as a reporter and gather as many facts, but you're like, how have we now come to report on political assassinations in Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm not surprised given what's happened there the last 5 years. But I just wonder about this story in particular. Did he have contact with Walz? Do we know that Walz said, I met this guy ever?
Well, this is what's interesting. We know that he served on a board appointed by Walz. However, I'll say that...
what kind of board was it?
It was a workforce development board. They have, I think, more than 100 of these boards in Minnesota. Most of them are voluntary boards. So he was appointed to that board by Governor Mark Dayton, a Democrat, and reappointed by Walz. That expired in 2023. So it is unclear if they ever knew each other. They were on the interesting Senator Hoffman and Vance Belter were on the same board together. So you would think that they somehow knew each other. How did a 7-Eleven manager / mortuary remains disposal guy wind up on a governor appointed board in the state? Also a good question.
It's a little weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's just so many things in his background that don't seem to make much sense. And also just he had several properties in his name, 7 cars. He's asking for a public defender because he has no money. He just paid more than $500,000 for his home in Green Isle a couple of years ago.
What?
So where's the money coming from? I think there are questions about that as well.
From the body disposal business? Like how much and this guy is renting an apartment to take a job hours from his $500,000 home that cannot be a high-paying job. I don't know what mortuaries pay to dispose of bodies, but it can't be a lot.
Yeah, law enforcement seems to think that he'd been plotting, something for a long time. What was the final, I don't know.
Okay, so nothing about this makes sense at all.
Correct.
So there's been a ton of speculation that he, like a number of other people, high-profile murderers in the last 50 years may have been like not at all what he seemed to be. This is like some sort of operation designed to discredit, the enemies of the people who designed it. Do you think there's is it worth pulling on those threads?
Oh, I think it's worth it, and that's what we've been doing. It just seems that, even talking to profilers through this, they really, maybe there is something more because none of this actually makes sense or adds up to become that radicalized, what actually happened. But it's a story, we're obviously staying on. And
yeah, maybe we'll wind up like the Vegas shooting where it doesn't make sense at all. Mm-hmm. And no one wants to talk about it and we just kind of forget about it. biggest mass shooting in American history that like no one mentions ever, but clearly it's not.
And you've already seen that with the media in Minnesota. It's okay. He's a Trump supporter. This is why he did it, and that's it. I mean, it's just absolutely insane what has happened to the media. No curiosity, no common sense. It's really disgusting, and no wonder the public is not informed, especially in Minnesota.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.